against me. You've all seen it in your local councils. I was going to have the votes aligned against me, and commissioners, maybe some of you read about this, commissioners are largely prohibited from engaging in the political process. Commissioners cannot fundraise. I wish somebody had told Kelly Candell that he could not fundraise for Jack Weiss. But I spent a lot of sleepless nights thinking, am I more effective as a minority voice, or do I switch gears and become an activist for change? And I made my decision, and I think it could have gone the other way, but at the moment I have, well, as of last night, I have no regrets.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Niles Chapman, you want to stand up and ask your question? And then after Niles is going to be Robert Donham. And if you could just stand up, Robert, so that John can see where you are.
The city and the state and the feds have issued the final, at least as the newspapers report, as the final designation of the route and method of attainment of all San Diego to northern redo of 405 without any notation of how many homes are going to be lost. And I'd like you to address that.
I found myself in neighborhood meeting after neighborhood meeting uttering sort of the unforgivable words, at least as coming from the president of the city's planning commission. And here's what they were. I'm sorry to report that you're going to have to sue your city to get it right. I have a whisper of familiarity with the project you speak of, but maybe my whisper is a lie. I don't know the volume of your personal involvement, but the environmental documents for that project need to be able to tell each and every one of us what the precise alignment is, the grade crossings, the bridgings, the loss of homes, because only in that way can we analyze the environmental impact, which is the fundamental obligation of the people who are proposing the project. And I'm sorry to say that in neighborhood after neighborhood, I hear the same thing, which is that the very people who live alongside the freeway don't know what the project looks like. That's unforgivable.
Okay, thank you. Robert?
Now, subsequent to that, we were told, where's the money, where are the police officers, and they said, it's in the general fund. Now, I think our attorneys should look into how to get the cops out of the general fund. I understand the economics have changed, but the truth of the matter is we were lied to. And we were not told the truth, and that was we were going to really take care of fixing up a problem of a shortfall in the garbage disposal. Well, I don't like that idea at all. I mean, I don't mind them saying let's pay for the garbage, but if we're going to pay for cops, let's get cops.
So neighbors, it's not a land use planning question per se, but it bears so heavily on the process or the broken process that I'm describing in planning. I've read all the conversations, the email exchanges, and here's how it goes. We all agreed to tax ourselves, call it by another name, enhance, increase what we paid for trash pickup for the explicit express purpose of providing ourselves with more police officers. You're absolutely right. That was not the honest to God's truth. In point of fact, it was a desire. The money's in the general fund. My belief, I'm sure, is the same as yours. The reason why California voted so overwhelmingly against all of those propositions yesterday is because we've lost what I told you is essential for us doing this. we don't trust one another, and we have good reason not to trust. We've got to rebuild that trust. I think a place to start is with Carmen Chutanich. I am hopeful that there are city council members who have been sitting on the sidelines a bit who will now join up. I think we all saw more spine and backbone at the end of last week in the budget hearings than we've seen in just an awfully long time, and it really felt good.
Okay, Wilma? And then after that, Mr. Klaus, or I'll get to that in a second.
The City Council has approved a measure to place thorough sanitation facilities throughout the city. And this was brought about because Lopez Canyon adjacent residents are upset about the increased noise and whatever traffic as our population grows. And they think that after we get an EPA report, just paying offsets is going to mitigate the problem. How can we get the city to adhere to the master plan that relegates industry to less populated areas?
So it's a great question, but it has a complicated answer. And I haven't made this trip. Tell me if you've made this trip. Have any of you traveled abroad to see the trash reduction, recycling centers in Europe, which I'm told make our use of our canyons as a dump site look very primitive. That is to say, we have not moved forward in the technology of how we reduce, reuse, and recycle. So the idea behind these local centers, one per sanitation district, is it's not a dump. It's not to be anything like that. It's to be a location for reduce, reuse, recycle with more modern technology where we join the rest of the world. Now here's the sticky wicket. If there's anyone in this room who thinks that will happen without our vigilance, they're mistaken. It won't happen right. It won't happen in the way promised unless we're at the table until it's complete. So I ask you to be there.
Okay. One thing also, as we go on, if you do leave the room before Jane is finished and before this is finished, we're going to be very unhappy with you. But if you do, please take your garbage and put it in the garbage can. Otherwise, Jules will have to be here all night because he's in charge of cleaning up the garbage. Okay, the next question is about billboards. It's Mr. Klaus, Richard, Klaus.
Actually, two questions. First, non-billboard. Is it true that you'll be working for Chutanich?
All right, you're not going to believe this. He's never asked me.
Oh.
So here's how it goes.
Smart guy.
So here's how it goes. We had this, everybody here thinks they've had the conversation. I would like to have the conversation, but here's how it goes. We had this agreement that not only would it be bad karma, but it would taint my volunteer spirit. I said this, if there were something in it for me. I needed to work for nothing. I don't like the idea that I'm beholden, bought, or somebody's manipulable, malleable spokesperson. So we agreed from the get-go. I'm a volunteer. He said to me, what title would you like? Because they all of them, probably John Schulman's kids had titles. My title was campaign volunteer. So we'll see. I would enjoy the opportunity.